As we start our class today, I'm going to talk about volcanoes. Maybe you've read about volcanoes, studied about them, written a report about a volcano. Maybe you've seen a video of a volcano. So I have a question for you. When there's a volcano getting ready to explode, or when it explodes, do people run away from it or run towards it? Of course you're going to run away from it. It's hot and it's uncomfortable. It's kind of like if somebody's got a bad temper, they go off like a volcano and people run away from them too. In Proverbs chapter 14, verses 16 through 17, it says, "A wise man fears the Lord and shuns evil, but a fool is hot-headed and reckless. A quick-tempered man does foolish things." Now, when it says the word man, it means people. That could be a man, a woman, a child, boy, girl. It doesn't matter the age, but hot-tempered people do foolish things. In the Bible, we are taught to control our temper, and that it's wiser to do that. N is for not. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. Let's say it again. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. We don't have control over when the sun goes down, but what that means is get rid of your anger before it gets dark, and don't let it continue on. Yes, we're going to get angry sometimes, but we need to calm it down. We don't want to give the devil a foothold. A foothold is like he's got a way then to cling to your life, to get in your thoughts and distract you from what's good, distract you from the Lord. When the devil sees an angry person, he's delighted. He says, "Oh boy, I can control this person. I can wreck their lives. I can cause trouble with this one." See, this picture is somebody bashing their guitar on the ground. Must be angry about something. And that verse in Proverbs says that a quick-tempered person does foolish things. Reminds me of tennis players sometimes. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them are proud of their temper, and they will plan ahead by bringing extra tennis rackets with them, so if they get really mad that they can bust up a very expensive racket in front of the crowd. The devil would be liking that kind of behavior. He would be feel like that he's been invited to get closer to them. Instead of being angry, we should have an obedient and happy relationship with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, and a happy and caring relationship with other people.
Hi, this is Alexander, and this week we are studying the letter N for not in Ephesians 4:26. "Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." A foothold is where you can put your foot to make progress up a mountain or something like that. So you can put your foot in like a crack in a mountain and push yourself up to get more progress up the mountain. But we don't want to give the devil a foothold, because when we're angry, then we will be more concentrated on being angry, not God. Now I'll show you what a foothold is on a tree. Watch me climb. See, I have a good foothold position right here so I don't fall. Some things that might make us angry is losing a game, language, and people being mean. Some things that might help us from not being angry is the golden rule, which is treat people the way you want to be treated, being nice to them, and also praying that they get nicer.
Yes, we can pray to the Lord to help us to get control of our own anger and to be nicer to people in our family and our friends and who we come in contact during the week. We also pray for others that the Lord will help them to see that anger is so wrong to hang on to, and to be nicer and to do to others as you'd have them do to you, just like we just heard. Here are some pictures of people being kind to each other, enjoying each other, and there's no anger there. It's all encouraging and good.
Love one another, thus saith the Savior. Children, obey the Father's blessed command. Love one another, thus saith the Savior. Children, obey the blessed command.
Now we're going to have a Bible story from the Old Testament, 1 Samuel.
When the Israelite people decided that they wanted to be like the other nations, they wanted to have a king. They weren't happy with God being in charge of them. They wanted a person. They wanted a king. So God went through a process, and he selected Saul to be the first king of Israel. And when Saul became the king, he was kind of shy, and he was overwhelmed with the idea of being a king. As a matter of fact, he did not really want to be the king, but he did become the king of Israel. And while he was king, he became a great warrior. And the Israelites were fighting people around them who were bad people, and they were wicked people. And Saul became famous for being such a great warrior and defeating all the people that were opposing the Israelites and really opposing God. And he became famous and became a great king. And everyone liked him, and he was just well known. Well, there came a time when the Philistines sent out a giant to challenge all the nation of Israel. His name was Goliath, and he was a giant, and he was kind of scary. He had a huge shield and a huge spear, and he came out across the valley and challenged the whole Israelite army. And he told them to send someone out to oppose him. And of course, all the Israelites, they were scared of him, and they didn't have anybody to oppose Goliath until a young man named David came along. Now, David was there to bring food to his brothers. He wasn't even there to fight. He wasn't even old enough to fight. But he saw this giant named Goliath come out and challenge the people of Israel. And by challenging the people of Israel, he was really challenging God. Well, David loved God, and he was a man of God. And he could not believe that the Israelite people would let this giant come out and make fun of them and challenge them, and the Israelite people did not do anything about it. So David told Saul, he said, I will go and fight the giant named Goliath. So David goes out with a slingshot, and there he stands as a young boy, just with a slingshot, against the giant Goliath. And he uses a stone in his slingshot, and he slings it, and it hits the giant in the forehead, and the giant falls to the ground, and David runs up and uses the giant's own sword to finish killing Goliath. Well, all the Israelite people saw this, and they were astonished that this young boy was so brave and had so much courage to go out and fight the giant. Of course, David knew that God was with him, and he knew that if God wanted the giant defeated, he would help David do it. And he did. So Saul took David and took him into his court, and David played the harp for him. And Saul was very proud of David, and David was proud to serve in Saul's court before the king. And everyone was good, except for one thing. All the Israelite people started talking about David and how great he was, and how courageous he was, and how brave he was. And they kept telling the story over and over about how he killed the giant named Goliath and had led the Israelite army to defeat the Philistines. Well, over time, Saul became angry. He became jealous. And he did not like the people proclaiming the greatness of David. He wanted them to proclaim him as great. But the people kept proclaiming David as being so great. So Saul got angry that David was getting all the attention. So one day he even threw a spear at David and just barely missed him. And David knew that he was in trouble. And over time, Saul became more and more angry. And he decided that he was going to kill David. And the only thing that made him angry was that David was getting all the attention. The people were proclaiming David as being great instead of Saul. And so Saul just became more and more angry. And poor David, he had to leave the area and go out and kind of hide from Saul, because he knew that Saul was trying to kill him, and he knew that Saul was very angry and very jealous and envious of him. And over time, Saul just became more and more angry. When Saul became angry, this brings us to our end verse: do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. Well, as Saul became angry, he was letting the devil get a foothold in his mind and in his heart. And when the devil gets a foothold and you don't make the right choice, then it gets worse and worse. And so Saul made the choice to let the anger rule in his heart and rule in his mind. And this gave the devil a stronger foothold. And of course, he just got more angry and more angry. And in this case, the devil won, because Saul made the wrong choice, and he did not get rid of his anger before the sun went down. He kept the anger in his heart, and it just kept building and building. And he made the choice to let the anger take over his heart and his mind.
This boy may actually have a good reason to be angry, but I hope he doesn't stay angry. This lady may have seen something on Facebook. I hope she doesn't reply with unkind words. These sisters are yelling at each other, but I hope they calm down. This boy's out of control, and this girl, she's pouting in her anger, and that's a form of anger too. Pouting's not okay either. Here's maybe a brother and sister that they have a big disagreement. Please get over it. Please pray and love and forgive each other. This mom is angry with her child for disobeying or doing something dangerous, and it's okay for parents to warn their children and scold them because they're protecting them. This mother is scolding her son for something, and she needs to teach him. He needs to learn how to behave. Maybe this dad is teaching his teenager something for her benefit. Afterwards, the parent and the child should pray, love, and forgive each other and have a new day. This verse today is especially good for husbands and wives to remember that maybe there is a disagreement, maybe something needs to be resolved as a problem, but not to stay mad and not to stop talking to each other, but to continue working towards a solution to the problem. And never, never, never to go to bed angry with each other. That is just very unhealthy. The Lord wants us to have happy families who play together and pray together. Speaking of playing games, here's somebody playing the game Jumanji.
Jumanji!
Nice
I
job.
win!
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good game.
Thanks, you too. Jumanji! I win!
Whatever. Hi guys. I think it's really good to not be angry when you lose, because if you say mean stuff like I did in that last video, it's an easy way for you to lose friends. So, bye.
Let's watch again his example of a good playing person when they lose.
Jumanji!
Nice
I
job.
win!
Nice job.
Thank you.
Good game.
Thanks, you too.
I really hope everyone watching this video today will memorize this verse and also to visualize what a foothold might look like. It might help you keep this important in your mind. And I appreciate this one about the tree. Let's watch it again.
A foothold is where you can put your foot to make progress up a mountain or something like that. So you can put your foot in like a crack in a mountain and push yourself up to get more progress up the mountain. But we don't want to give the devil a foothold, because when we're angry, then we will be more concentrated on being angry, not God. Now I'll show you what a foothold is on a tree. Watch me climb. See, I have a good foothold position right here, so I don't fall.
What is another example of a foothold? A ladder has a foothold. We don't want the devil to climb into our life. A bicycle has a foothold called a pedal. We don't want the devil to pedal into our life. A climbing wall has handholds and footholds. We don't want the devil to get higher in our life. The devil is so happy to see people who get angry quickly, or who stay angry. The devil can coach them to be meaner and grouchier, and they forget their blessings from the Lord. They're so busy being angry. Let's all of us choose to control our anger and be joyful and happy and kind.
Angry words, oh let them never from the tongue and bridle slip. May the heart's best impulse ever check them ere they soil the lip. Love one another, blessed the Savior. Children obey the Father's blessed command. Love one another, blessed the Savior. Children obey the blessed command. Love is much too pure and holy, free hearts are rashly stirred. Brightest gleams of life are broken by a single angry word. Love one another, thus saith the Savior. Children, obey the Father's last command. Love one another, thus saith the Savior. Children, obey the last command.
In this song, when the words said, "Children, obey the Father's blessed command," that means all people obey the Father's blessed command. Doesn't matter the age. We are all to obey Him and to control that anger. Have a great week. Bye.